Special weather news. United States and the Atlantic, late September 2025. Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our special weather forecast bulletin. Over the coming days, the weather picture across the United States and the Atlantic basin will undergo major changes, not just ordinary shifts in temperature, but the simultaneous appearance of multiple low-pressure systems, rounds of strong thunderstorms, dangerous weather threats, and especially the renewed activity of tropical cyclones in the Atlantic, with Tropical Storm Gabrielle and several new tropical waves emerging off Africa. In today's broadcast, we will deliver a panoramic view of the weather over the next 7 to 10 days, highlight the hotspots that demand close attention, and provide detailed forecasts region by region, from the west, through the Central Plains and the south, to the northeast, while also updating the latest developments in the Atlantic hurricane season. First, let's take a look at today's situation. Across the Midwest, a mesoscale convective vortex, a leftover circulation from an earlier large thunderstorm complex, is moving through Iowa, Missouri, and Illinois. Though weakened into a shallow low-pressure swirl, it is still producing scattered showers and thunderstorms throughout the day. What's more concerning is that the environment behind this disturbance remains primed for new storms to develop later this afternoon across Kansas and Nebraska. These storms could bring damaging wind gusts, medium-sized hail, and even a few isolated tornadoes, especially in central Kansas and southern Nebraska. Residents are urged to follow short-term severe weather alerts issued by the National Weather Service. Meanwhile, along the West Coast and into the Four Corners region, New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, and Colorado, heavy rain continues due to leftover tropical moisture from former Pacific Hurricane Mario. Abundant humidity interacting with mountainous terrain is creating a high risk of flash flooding and landslides, particularly in northern New Mexico and southern Colorado. Hikers and climbers in the Rockies should exercise extreme caution, as torrential rain and hail may make conditions treacherous. Across the Northeast and along the Atlantic seaboard, most states are enjoying dry skies, sunshine, and comfortable temperatures. The big exception lies in South Florida, where relentless heavy rain has been flooding Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and the Everglades. The culprit is a lingering low-pressure trough funneling Caribbean moisture into the region. Forecasts show the heavy rain will persist for at least another 3 to 4 days before easing. But ladies and gentlemen, the most important point is that U.S. weather is about to enter a completely new phase over the next week. Mid-level flow and jet stream charts reveal a train of lows crossing the Rockies one after another, sweeping across the interior toward the east. The weak low currently over the Great Lakes will fade by the weekend, but immediately behind it two fresh systems are emerging, one offshore California and another forming over Wyoming. Both will draw in large amounts of Pacific and Gulf of Mexico moisture, fueling widespread thunderstorm development. From Sunday into early next week, widespread showers and storms are expected from California and Nevada into the Midwest. These storms will not remain isolated but may organize into large complexes. In particular, the Southern Plains and Mississippi Valley face the greatest risk of severe weather, with storms producing 90+ km/h, 55+ mph winds, large hail, and localized tornadoes. By Tuesday, Pennsylvania and the Mid-Atlantic could also see strong storms as an upper-level disturbance sweeps through. By midweek, a surge of cold Canadian air will drive a backdoor cold front from northeast to southwest, dropping temperatures significantly in the Great Lakes and Northeast. Cities like Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, and Buffalo will see morning lows plunge to 3 to 8 degrees Celsius, upper 30s to mid-40s degree F. Some rural areas may even dip below freezing overnight. This will mark the first crisp taste of autumn, with early leaf fall arriving ahead of schedule. At the same time, the plains and south will be heating up again under intense late-season heat. Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas are expected to top 37 to 39 degrees Celsius, 98 to 102 degrees Fahrenheit, with some locations exceeding 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit. This sharp temperature contrast, cold in the north, hot in the south, will create a volatile clash zone, ripe for additional severe thunderstorm outbreaks. Meteorologists warn this could set the stage for a large-scale, severe weather outbreak within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Similar to springtime, but unfolding during the so-called second storm season of autumn. Breaking down the daily timeline. Saturday to Sunday. Scattered storms in the Midwest. Flash flood risk in New Mexico and Colorado. Monday to Tuesday. A strong low crossing the Rockies brings widespread heavy rain to Texas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. Wednesday, Thursday. Cold air dominates the north, while storms shift south and east. Next weekend, Gulf Coast states from Louisiana to Florida Panhandle remain stormy, while the north stays dry and cool. On temperatures, the Great Lakes and Northeast will turn much cooler midweek, with overnight lows down to 3 to 5 degrees Celsius, upper 30s degree F. Conversely, the South and Plains will scorch under near-record heat, with Dallas, Houston, and Oklahoma City pushing 37 to 39 degrees Celsius. In sharp contrast, Michigan and Wisconsin may only manage daytime highs of 12 to 15 degrees Celsius, low 50s degree F. While the U.S. braces for this volatile pattern, the Atlantic remains a focus. Tropical storm Gabrielle is tracking northwest and is forecast to strengthen into a Category 1 hurricane within 48 to 72 hours. Bermuda is in the potential path early next week, with winds up to 120 km per hour, 75 miles per hour. Heavy rain and coastal flooding. The good news: Gabrielle does not threaten the U.S. mainland, but it is a stark reminder that the 2025 hurricane season is peaking once again. Beyond Gabrielle, weather models hint at 1 or 2 more tropical cyclones emerging from African waves over the next 10 days. Both the GFS and European ensembles suggest that by late September, another system may spin up in the Caribbean or Gulf of Mexico, where waters remain very warm and upper-level wind shear is relaxing. Should this scenario unfold, a strong storm could develop near Central America with a complicated track. It's worth remembering, late September into early October often marks a second peak of the Atlantic hurricane season, fueled by the Madden-Julian oscillation shifting into a favorable phase. This creates a moist, unstable atmosphere that encourages tropical development. For this reason, experts urge residents of the Caribbean, Gulf Coast, and Southeast U.S. to remain especially vigilant over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Returning to the U.S. mainland outlook. West, California, Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico, continued heavy thunderstorms. Flash flood risks in canyons and deserts. High elevation snow possible in Colorado's Rockies. Great Plains, Texas through Nebraska, intense heat early in the week. Then severe storms midweek. Midwest and Great Lakes, Illinois, Iowa, Michigan, Ohio, warm start, sharp cool down midweek, with morning chills and on and off showers. Northeast, New York to New England, dry early, turning chilly with lows near 5 to 8 degrees Celsius, 40s degree F. With late week coastal low potentially bringing rain. Southeast, Florida remains under prolonged heavy rainfall with localized flooding. The Carolinas start dry but turn wetter midweek as low pressure edges inland. In summary, the coming week will bring dramatic weather across the United States. Successive low pressure systems, the clash of hot and cold air, widespread thunderstorms, while offshore, hurricane season roars back with Gabrielle and new tropical waves. Residents of the Midwest, Gulf Coast, and especially Bermuda should closely monitor daily developments. That concludes our special report. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to stay updated with the latest weather and hurricane information. We'll be back the moment new developments arise concerning Gabrielle or any other tropical systems. Wishing you safety, peace, and good health.